Fake Goodwin here, and eventually we will like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff, help promote and rank up my channel. So we're back to review WandaVision Episode 5. This one's got a family ties kind of intro. Into it as we move into a more 80s style sitcom. It also has a bit of Full House vibes. Considering this episode has a heavy focus on twins. But WandaVision. Starring Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany. This is a rather interesting episode. I've got to say, though, I've kind of got a mixed feeling on this one in comparison to others, because totally, they don't really balance the sitcom and the mystery, more serious stuff that well.
What are we looking at here? Is it an alternate reality, time travel?
It's a sitcom.
It doesn't feel that well balanced this time around. The sitcom is more of an afterthought this time around.
Starring 2 Avengers?
It's a working theory.
Where the first couple of episodes put heavy focus on and leaned in heavily into the sitcom stuff, and then we had a straightforward, serious episode from an outside perspective, from a whole different perspective, more of a perspective from the audience, the normal MCU audience, looking into this weird thing.
Something's wrong here.
Should we just take it from the top?
As they kind of, act like fans, they're watching WandaVision, they're talking about the characters, they're speculating about everything. That stuff was really interesting. But now, as we're kind of back into it, we're going back and forth, and the sitcom element doesn't feel that well balanced anymore. It kind of feels like that aspect of the show is over, and it doesn't work so well with all the serious stuff going on.
Stop lying to me!
As this episode does focus more on the serious elements than it does the sitcom elements. The sitcom stuff is, there are some things in there that are amusing, like Wanda rolling the credits on Vision when he's trying to talk to her about something serious.
No, there's a family, Wanda!
There's quite a few things in there. I should be saying spoiler warning, because it goes without saying you can't review this stuff without having spoilers. Not something like this, anyway. So, as we're dealing with the babies aging up on us over here on WandaVision.
Then where are the twins?
Mommy? Daddy?
There's a little bit of eyebrow-raising things when it comes in particular to the character Agnes. Vision is really starting to catch on.
None of it is real.
And when he sees that these people are real and under a spell, suffering emotional turmoil, he's put at odds with Wanda for the duration of the episode. Norm says her, indicating a female is controlling everything. I believe that female isn't just Wanda, but Agnes.
Can't control them. No matter how hard you try.
Who is always there to ensure things go over smoothly when Wanda needs them to. And a part of Vision seems like he's starting to catch on to that fact too. There's concerns about Wanda using her powers around Agnes.
I shouldn't even notice when the boys went from babies to 5-year-olds.
That's not what we agreed upon.
Agnes just always there to make Wanda comfortable, and Wanda seems really comfortable with using her powers around Agnes.
Right now. What aren't you telling me?
I believe, too, that Vision will try to make contact with Sword because of the email received.
Authenticate. Dr. Darcy Lewis findings regarding Maximoff.
I believe that Sword regards him as property that they want to retrieve, since it's revealed that Wanda did, in fact, steal his corpse from them.
You don't bother me. I won't bother you.
This episode focuses heavily putting blame on Wanda, putting all focus, all eyes on Wanda. After what we've seen last week, they've drawn the conclusion that Wanda's responsible for absolutely everything. And this episode doubles down on that as it's revealed to us that Wanda stole Vision's corpse. However, in my personal opinion, I think that Wanda actually retrieved Vision's corpse from S.W.O.R.D.
You can hardly blame us, Wanda.
Oh, I think I can.
It's only speculation, but I'm assuming that they had the worst intentions for it. They wanted to weaponize it, make it something they could use on their own, and Wanda retrieve Vision's body from that. It is interesting, though, to see that scene that we would have actually seen at the end of Avengers Endgame that was cut, because there was supposed to be a scene like that there with Wanda taking Vision's body, his corpse. And then now the question is just more baffling about whether or not Vision can exist outside of this Westview world.
Me, handle it.
What is outside of Westview?
How did it come back? Is the Grim Reaper involved? Is Mephisto involved? Obviously, I think there's more going on here than meets the eye. The episode is it's got Vision convinced that Wanda's completely at fault. You've got
We now have first-person intel from inside the Westview anomaly.
on the outside, that guy trying to convince Monica Rambeau and Darcy and Wu that this is all Wanda, that it's all on her, that it's her fault, that she's the equivalent of a terrorist. You've got them trying to figure out things aside from that, how the reality works, things going into there, like Monica's clothes becoming bulletproof, changing, altering with the reality. There's a lot of interesting stuff.
This will be your only warning.
So S.W.O.R.D. has this shoot first, ask questions later approach to Wanda, given the current director's orders. And I think it's because they don't want, like, Monica Rambeau to know that what they intended to do with Vision's body. Aside from that, the stuff with Darcy, Monica Rambeau, and Wu this episode was really cool, really neat, and I liked that there was some tension in there when they mentioned to Monica Rambeau about the whole Captain Marvel name. When they name drop her, I liked that there was some tension there. It didn't seem like she was too fond of hearing that name, and she was quick to dismiss it, throw it aside as they focus on Wanda, highlighting the fact that Wanda's powerful enough to take on Thanos. Now, I'm not particularly sure how Monica Rambeau would know that, given her absence, would know exactly what played out there, that Scarlet Witch almost destroyed him. Speaking of Scarlet Witch, they kind of highlight the fact that this girl doesn't have a nickname. She doesn't have a superhero name. So hopefully this show leads to her getting the name Scarlet Witch. That's what I'm really hoping for, as they talk a lot about hexes and hexagons and stuff in this episode. I think all that stuff's really interesting. Other stuff that they cover in here, though, the episode largely focuses on death, resurrection, that you can't bring certain things back, even though it's family. The kids get a dog, the dog dies. Unfortunately, Agnes is there conveniently, always, and it results in something that kind of deflects Vision's argument with Wanda, as it's really getting somewhere, really building somewhere. They bring in the big surprise cameo that we knew they were going here. Now, I'm sure a lot of people are thrilled with Evan Peters reprising his role as Quicksilver. Darcy comments that they recast Pietro.
You didn't see that coming.
Doesn't fit this universe, as we're leaning into the multiverse direction and stuff. Yeah, sure, I guess if you want to highlight that, but in terms of narrative, substance, and weight, you would want the other guy back to reprise his role of Quicksilver rather than Evan Peters. I know people are more fond of the Evan Peters one because he was certainly more entertaining. I still prefer the Age of Ultron one, and when you consider the impact it would have for Wanda seeing that face again, seeing him come back at her door like that, it just... This doesn't make much sense to me to pull a multiverse Quicksilver. It's kind of underwhelming, disappointing, and a little weird. But they do highlight in the episode how you cannot resurrect people, even family, even though it's forever, but they do something like this. So it's really strange. Is this guy actually Quicksilver, or is he somebody else coming in to fix the problem, since Wanda couldn't get Vision to back off? Is this Mephisto? Is this Daft? Or is it just an alternate version of Quicksilver? With that said, this could lead to Magneto as the big cameo surprise in the future. Michael Fassbender, I don't think Sir Ian would qualify. He's just too old at this point, and he was always frail to me as Magneto to begin with. But this is where they go. Like I said, I don't think it amounts to what it could have amounted to had you had the other Quicksilver come back face to face like this. It just doesn't amount to the same. It doesn't carry the same weight. This here is certainly interesting, and I imagine that it's pretty off-putting for the character Wanda herself, because it's not exactly Quicksilver, not the one we know from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So,
Just don't know what to expect.
alright, so I certainly enjoyed the novelty of having Evan Peters back as Quicksilver, seeing where that goes. I'm interested in seeing if they're going to bring out Magneto too. Very curious. But in terms of, I would have liked the other Quicksilver back, because I think there's a much more emotional impact to that. Immediate emotional impact, but they're playing the long game, right? So this one has a better payoff in the long run for some reason, because it has to do with breaking down the walls of reality between dimensions. Whoever's behind all this, that's likely their in-game goal, breaking down the walls, whether it was Wanda or somebody else to pluck this guy from an alternate dimension to bring him into this world. The result's the same. It's breaking down the walls of reality. It's going to have massive consequences. I'm looking forward to see where that goes. Just to fulfill Wanda's emotional needs, because we've seen several times how devastating and powerful she can be when she's emotional. And that's really interesting. I'm really curious about what's going to happen. Let me know your thoughts, opinions. Fake good one here. Eventually we will like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff. Stay awesome. Rock on.